Hey, what's going on, guys? Another video build log coming for you. This time it's a smaller one, but it's in a pretty cool car. It's in a 2016 Dodge Hellcat. And this one had an install done previously, which is pretty common here, as you guys probably know. And what we're doing is we're, seeing if anything's wrong with it. But so far, it seems all right, and taking it to the next level. And by taking it to the next level, I mean, seeing where deficiencies are in terms of the install, the tuning, any equipment. Thankfully, the equipment is all good. He has the Pack Amp Pro, coming off the OEM source, going into a Helix DSP.3. And from there, he's going into a pair of Moscone AS amplifiers. I'm not sure which exact model. They are in the trunk. And then he was flip-flopping between two different component sets. He had the Morel Supremos, or actually no, it was the Elates, sorry. The Morel Elates, the 6.5 and the tweeter, and the Focal Utopia 6.5 and tweeter. And, the tweeter was in the OEM location in the dashboard, and mid-bass was in the door. And, pretty standard install, but, he wants it to be good. He knows it could have been better than what it was. So what we're doing is we're deadening the doors, number one. The doors were not deadened before. We're doing ResoNix CLD squares with butyl rope and FD1 closed cell foam. And then we're moving the tweeters to the pillars, and then we are adding a mid-range, which we are trying for the first time, the Focal Utopia M. Now, we did try these kind of in Kevin's car for a little bit, and we were very impressed with what we heard. Sorry, I can't really get them in focus. I'm pretty impressed with them. Very detailed from what we heard. We're putting them in the OEM location, except we are going to modify it. We are not going to use the OEM grill. We are going to modify the grill to have a better opening, because in this car, the grill is very restrictive. As you can see, we already got started on the pillars, and we got started on the doors. We're pretty much done deadening with CLD on the doors. We just got to add foam and do the door skins. And here you can see the driver's side pillar installed with the Focal Utopia tweeter. Not totally off axis, not on axis. They're firing at the opposite pillar, and I think it's going to sound really good. The reason we went with this orientation with mid, he did give us freedom to do pretty much whatever we wanted. The reason we went with this orientation was because a friend of mine also happens to have a similar car, which I tuned at finals. He ended up snagging third place, and obviously I got to hear it using these exact locations. So I'm convinced that these locations will work well. I know what they're capable of. It's not going to be guesswork. So that's why I went with that. He has a Helix Director mounted on a bracket down here, and we are actually going to move that into the sunglass holder, but that's pretty easy. And then we might even touch up the trunk a little bit. That's still on the table. The trunk is, as of right now, functional and clean, but if he has time left, if we have time left, we might do some pretty stuff in the trunk. You never know. But yeah, stay tuned. This should be a fun one. All right, guys. So what we're doing now, or what we just did, was we measured, or we installed the Focal Utopia M mid-ranges into the OEM dash locations of the Hellcat, with the intention of seeing if we should or should not modify the dash grills. And the reason we were thinking we should or shouldn't, or the reason we were debating about it is, one, when you look at the OEM dash grills, they are pretty restrictive. There's just little slits in the grill, and it doesn't really
promote anything good. When you just by looking at it, you can tell that it's not optimal. And secondly, I have a friend with a very similar car. It's not the Hellcat, pretty much the same dash setup. And he modified his dash corner locations and had a pretty. I remember when he did it, he told us it was a pretty good improvement. So I was kind of curious. So what we did was we went and measured the frequency response of left and right with and without the dash grill in place. So let's take a look. Here is the left mid-range with the grill in place. This is the right one with it in place also. The right one is for some reason a little louder. The gains are probably just higher. Let's get rid of the right one really quick and look at the left. Right out of the gate, you can see that at about 3K, which is where we want to cross these mids at, there's about an 8 dB difference. And the entire crossover range without the grill is much better than with the grill. So right out of the gate, something already tells me that, okay, we should probably get ready to modify the grills. The reason being, if we look a little deeper into it, if we want to cross these at 3K or so, and our crossover point is 6 dB down, so let's just say right here, we're going to have to cut 10 dB in the mid-range just to get a linear frequency response that has an appropriate crossover point and appropriate crossover slope. Meanwhile, if we do this without the grill, or with a modified grill, if it's the same response, if we go up from 60, we're going to have to boost a little in here, but that should be okay. We're only going to have to cut maybe 5 dB. So we're going to have more output across the board. We're going to have, easier time tuning. And also it's probably just going to sound better as a whole. When you're fixing frequency response, if there are anomalies that you need to fix, if you make changes that, enable you to not have to make those changes with tuning, it's probably going to be better regardless. It's something I've noticed over time. I have no proof to really back that up, but everything I've done has shown me that that's the case. Now, let's look at the right side. This is without EQ and with the grill in place, and this is no EQ without the grill in place. So again, same thing. In the crossover region, we have much more output without the grill in place, so it is definitely restricting airflow coming from that speaker. And I think we're gonna go ahead. The owner already gave us the go ahead to modify them. He actually wanted us to, but I'm kind of curious to see if it was necessary, and it looks like there actually is an acoustical benefit in this case to modify them. So yeah, stay tuned. Now we just gotta come up with a design, execute it, and get it playing, get it installed, and tune it.